$14,000. Deal or no deal?
No deal.
When people think of OCD, often Howie Mandel and obsessive hand-washing come to mind. There's quite a bit more to the disorder that 4 million Americans are diagnosed with, including yours truly. I've had obsessive and compulsive tendencies since I was little enough to fit into that washing machine, and they continued to gradually worsen throughout my adolescence. But I wasn't officially diagnosed with OCD until last year, when my intrusive thoughts became nearly unbearable and I finally told my parents that I needed some help. Intrusive thoughts. Every image and thought we don't want to think but do. Everybody gets them, but people with OCD have them more frequently and are able to dwell on them for hours at a time. The OCD specialist, Lee Baer, puts them into the categories of inappropriate aggressive thoughts, inappropriate sexual thoughts, and blasphemous religious thoughts. When I first started getting them, I was terrified, believing I was secretly an evil savage. I'd wake up every morning thinking they'd base a Criminal Minds plotline off me someday, or that I'd be put away in a psychiatric hospital. Due to the obsessions, I did my compulsions more often and they became more time-consuming. It was as if half my brain knew how irrational the intrusive thoughts were, knew I couldn't cause harm to even an insect, knew how guilt-ridden I was. The other, the more powerful half, told me what an awful person I was and how the only way to redeem myself was to carry out the compulsions. I didn't tell anyone for months. I was so ashamed and embarrassed, but the two sides of my mind fighting for dominance constantly took its toll, and my parents got me the help I sought. I now take the prescription Zoloft every day. Where I was once a sad pebble, I am now a happy pebble. I still have intrusive thoughts on the hour, every hour, but they are much easier to push away or laugh off. I also see a therapist once a week. It's more difficult than my cynical thoughts on psychology and I believed it would be, and less fun than Frasier made it out to be, but it helps.
I'm sorry, my mind was somewhere else. Rick, oh! I know who you should see. Dr. Gary Newman. His office is in my building. He has a very successful practice. I saw...
The compulsions I feel obligated to do usually have to do with electrical cords, doors, locks, and phone conversations. My mom is also a big fan of space heaters, which I absolutely hate. As you might have guessed, people with OCD love their numbers, and when I need a distraction from my thoughts, I count to 4 on my hand.
One, two, three, four. Tell me that you love me more. Sleepless, long nights, that's what my youth was for. Oh, teenage hopes are lied at your door. Left you with nothing, but they want some more.
Often, people with OCD are also hoarders, and although A&E doesn't need to bring a film crew to my house anytime soon, I have built up quite a collection of paper that I no longer need. Instead of letting it pile up, though, I've created a bit of a collage out of it.
Papers and the trash. Or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't go back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight. Or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't go back.
You just put on your coat and hat.
Okay, this is the room I usually store my papers in since my wall is now complete. And I really should throw most of it away because
Don't go back.
it is stuff I'll never use, but, I mean, I have bags, and boxes, and then, look at this one. I marked it important and keep safe, but if you look inside, it's some old newspaper scrap, and the bag was turned on it, so I really need to clean it out before college. Okay, this is what I do before bed every night, and once again in things of 4. So I'll have to lock the door. I'm a doubt and checker OCD type, so I'll do this. And I'll lock the screen door since no one in my family seems to be able to lock it. And I'll check it like this, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll close it, and I'll open it, and I'll check it again, and lock it like that, and check it. And on worse nights, or when I start thinking about it, like I am right now, I'll have to check it again, because one time my cat got stuck in the door between the screen and the regular door, and I wasn't even home that night, so, but now I feel the urge to check it. So, I do things in 4s a lot. I'll Q-tip each of my ears 4 times, even though it could be done in 1. I have this eyebrow brush, and I have to do that 4 times every morning. It takes me a while to get ready. Not just for me, I have to flick switches on and off before school, so I'm often late. But when I check the stove, washing out my pet's dishes. I have to do it till it feels just right. When I hear an ambulance go by or something, I have to say this little motto thing in my head, I suppose. The best way to describe it, or a prayer or something like that. I'll have to do it, I think, but I mean, I'll be answering a question in class and I'm here and I have to stop and start doing it, so it can get a bit awkward.